And I think we're going. Let me load up the Gong Show here. I posted a notice a couple hours ago on Facebook, and I just threw something up on Twitter. So
cool, thanks. I'll probably make a post on Steam because it's been pretty active lately.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, yep, we're live. Excellent. Yeah, just a few people in here tonight, or at least right now. But yeah, hang on, guys, as we get wrapping, warming up, and up to speed and all that kind of fun stuff. So
exactly.
But yeah, we've been off a week. We missed out last week. Everybody was sick. Dave was, you said what would you go through for your in your end?
Oh, just a flesh-eating virus scare. Yeah, my wife is a...
See, this is just such a... I mean, stupid jam tart. You're getting flesh-eating virus.
You cannot make this shit up. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I know. Yeah, my wife works in the hospital, ICU nurse, and they took care of a flesh-eating virus patient. And sure enough, not long after, my old knee surgery incision starts hurting really bad, and that's the first sign when that kind of thing kicks off. So, yeah, I rushed to the hospital, get some antibiotics, feel like shit for a couple days, but false scare. So it's all good. Luckily.
Well, I always know something's wrong when you go quiet on our little base camp forums, because you're posting 17 times a day, and then all of a sudden it goes from that to nothing. And
yeah, when you can't lift your phone to like tap a few letters to let everyone know you're live, you're in rough shape, man.
I know, well, dude. I know exactly what you're talking about. I was fighting this stupid cold, and this thing just kicked my butt for like 2.5 weeks. And I thought I was getting better. Like I was on the mend, road to recovery, and all that. And about it's been last Sunday. I felt horrible. Like I woke up and I could not even get off the couch, and started running this huge fever, and it was just a total train wreck. It was enough of a mess that I had to get my butt to the doctor and finally start getting some meds. But I'm only now, like the last couple of days, have been really like remotely productive. You're gonna hear me cough a bunch here tonight, and we'll see how it goes.
Oh, that's so lame, man. Well, I hope you feel relatively human.
Yeah, dude, it is nice to feel relatively human again. God, it was a mess. I mean, it's been almost a month since I've been 100% healthy. At least a month, because I got sick before New Year's, and yeah, I was just so tired of it. And even then, I'll wake up and have the antibiotics. They get to your stomach, and at least they affect my stomach. I don't know about you, but
yeah, if you don't take them with food or something, man.
Well, I do. I take them. I take them. So. Well, everybody's looking forward to the updates that we've got on our. And there's Joe. We got getting some of our usuals hopping in.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah, we don't have tons of you can touch on, I guess, the updates a little bit more than I can. I actually we'll wait for a couple more people to kind of get in chat before we really ramp up the speed a little bit. But I've been taking the technique of deliberately sequestering myself when I'm finding out like when they're talking about what new things are coming, what Robert's working on, because I like being surprised. And so yeah, Cola and Dave were talking to Robert. This must have been not last Sunday, but maybe a couple of Sundays. When was that?
It was actually, and hats off to our awesome crew. It was early Saturday morning. We got everybody together.
That's right.
Isn't that nuts? That's like, I don't get up Saturday morning for anything, and we got all of us together in the different time zones on a Saturday morning when we should all be lying in bed watching Garfield or something.
Watching Garfield.
Hell yeah, and we all, we all hung out for, over almost a couple hours, getting stuff planned for the year ahead, the update, getting the game out of early access, getting Kickstarter all tucked away, and getting that all finished. So it was awesome, man. Can't complain. But yeah, while we were talking about all specifics of things to come, we like hearing Eric mark out and scream into the microphone during Twitch. So we made him mute his.
Well, I left deliberately. You didn't kick me out. I left because I want to be surprised. And Robert posted a screenshot of something that I was like, whoa, check that out. So it looks like he's bringing the funk for sure, with at least one feature anyway. So We'll see
Yeah,
how it
he's
goes.
doing good, man. Robert is working his tail off. Of course, he's part time. He's got to work a day job for a living. Pro Wrestling X, makes some nice, make some respectable income for where it's at on early access, but not enough to put 4 people to work anywhere near full time and pay to live in the places we live in. But so far so good, man. He's cranking it out, and he's outperforming damn near anyone I've seen in his position. So
Well, what's nice is Cola's had time to kind of catch up. Now that Robert is been delayed working on his stuff.
Well, yeah, we had the promise. We were going through all the promises we had to make, had to keep on Kickstarter, and going through them. One of them seemed really innocuous. It was exit and enter the ring. Right? We're like, okay, well, we got to do that. Easy enough. But it turned out to be quite a good animation load for Cola. Over a half a dozen custom animations he had to make, and they're not simple ones. He's got to line up hands and feet with ropes and ring aprons, crawling up and down and getting all the distances right. Like they're not sexy animations to do. They take a little more time than fun little taunts and stuff. So he had to spend a couple weeks getting that done, and then of course. One thing we didn't actually plan on was an actual entrance ramp level with the ring was not part of the early design, and of course that threw a little bit of a hink in the plan. So Cola had to do some more animations of wrestlers interacting with the height of the ramp and everything to get that right. And so he got all that done. He's got it tucked away. He's gonna take a couple days to maybe see his fiance or something, and then he's going to move on to one of the final 3 things we need to cross off the list for Kickstarter, which is the 3rd character we promised. And he's going to.
I know. It sounded like he was dying to tear into Grimhold. To answer your question, Joe, no, this is not a new build here tonight. Sadly, it is still the same build, but I said our boy Robert is all over it, and you guys are going to be. Very pleasantly surprised, I think, once you see the new one, I guess. I said, I've been sequestering myself, trying not to know what's coming. So,
Cola is he's on his way home from work tonight. He works for one of the biggest game developers in the country, where I live anyway. And he said he might be able to hop on to Twitch before he finish up tonight if he gets home in time. But knowing Vancouver traffic in the winter, I wouldn't hold it against him if he couldn't make it. But maybe he'll surprise us and pop in.
Yeah, there wasn't a ton of new in terms of news and all that kind of stuff here tonight, but I just figured there was so much going on in the world of wrestling that I thought, okay, we at least got to talk Royal Rumble, we got to talk AJ, we got to talk all that kind of stuff. So I thought, okay, you know what? Even if I had to go solo tonight, I was going to at least get that off my chest. Kind of talking about all the excitement. Like I said, it was a pretty fun Sunday between all the Rumble. I thought was a lot of fun, and then again seeing AJ debut was just gave me absolute goosebumps, and I could not be happier for the guy. So.
Oh yeah, Eric and I were talking for a few minutes before we jumped on Twitch tonight. I choked up watching AJ come out for the Rumble, man, and my wife was making fun of me for being a big baby, but I'm like, I could not be happier for that guy. Knowing him for as long as we have since he started with the TNA Wednesday night pay-per-views, he made a big, risky decision early on in his career, where WWE offered him their typical developmental deal, which I think at the time was, $500 a week to go down to Louisville or something,
Yeah, because it was OVW at that point.
Yeah, OVW at the time, yeah, and he's getting married, starting a family, and he had to make a decision, do I go to start the WWE machine now, or do I try to do my own thing and make a name for myself on my own terms on the indie circuit and TNA, and I think, given the fact that he managed to debut on the Royal Rumble to the freaking reception he did, and unlike almost every other wrestler in the last few years, he completely bypassed the NXT system. A lot of big indie guys haven't. So that speaks a lot to his bargaining power in his career and where he's at. And someone told me, I don't know how they know this, but they said all of his merchandise sold out the night of the Rumble.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me. No, I know. Well, I thought he had some arrangement too, where he got to keep all his copyrights and all that kind of stuff. He essentially licensed all the copyrights to them, which I thought was pretty ballsy move. That's pretty cool.
Well, what's also interesting, I don't know if anybody knows too much of the dirt, but TNA posted a really big.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, they posted a big kind of bitchy post about him going to WWE saying, wait a minute, he had agreed to come to us and we had merchandise and we had his debut date set and we had everything almost in writing. We had an oral agreement, you know. I thought, wow, that's really...
Yeah, that kind of blew up Twitter pretty good, and it was kind of like everybody was like, okay, that's kind of dirty pool. Like, you know, you're not supposed to be, you know, there's something like anything. Even the Young Bucks were like, yeah, I think that's probably ought to have been stayed off the internet. So
Was that legit? Did that would actually come from TNA?
No, it was legit. It was the press release. You could see it right on their website, I thought.
Wow.
And yeah, because they released the statement. I mean, they were basically saying, yeah, we had a handshake deal, and he you know, they're just trying to, you know. I said, I try to root for TNA, I really do, but there's no action left, and it's kind of, like I said, it's interesting to see that the WWE is kind of like, all the injuries and everything have really forced their hand to try to get more talent in the door and probably sign deals that they wouldn't normally. But I thought it was what was so cool is because that was always the rumor that AJ was going to show up at the Rumble. But you know how that always is, that there's a million people that are rumored to be the Rumble, and so I wasn't thinking that it was even going to happen, and so I had a buddy come over, and we were just kind of hanging out, you know, watching the Rumble. And when I heard the organ, I was like, oh my God, I'll bet that's AJ, because, you know, it's kind of a religious, kind of a, you know, kind of a, and when I saw it, I mean, I like jumped off the couch. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. You know, like I was marking out like you wouldn't believe. And what was so cool, and I thought I was really, really shocked that he got the superstar pop. Like, everybody knew who he was, and there was a buzz in the arena, and everybody was jumping up and down, and they were chanting his name because, you know, again, he's been over in Japan. He's wrestled for Ring of Honor. He's wrestled for TNA, but, you know, would your average WWE fan necessarily know who he is?
And that's what he was worried about. I saw the videos of him before he debuted, you know, and he's like, my biggest fear is I'm going to walk out there to silence. You know?
Yeah, and for me, that's what I was, and I'm sure that there's probably some of that everybody's a little bit afraid of, but I was so happy. I mean, I just had like this big grin on my face the whole time that he was in there, and it was a good Rumble. Like, there was no nostalgia. I was actually kind of surprised by. They actually had it was all talent. You had Sami Zayn return.
I keep waiting for Road Warrior, you know, Animal to show up every once in a while. But
well,
I guess that
and Dolph Ziggler was trolling pretty hard. That he said he saw somebody with big blonde goatee and chainmail, headgear. And I thought, I'd love to see Big Papa Pump come out there. You know, I think that'd be wonderful. But
you know who did hate it, though? Bret Hart posted a big rant about how he thought it was the worst Rumble he'd ever seen.
Was it the ending that he was complaining about, or was it the Rumble itself?
Yeah, you could tell. You could tell. I mean, I love
the
Bret,
ending was terrible. Triple H had no reason to go over. I mean, again, it's just again. I even tweeted that. I said, okay, ending aside, and I even had like barf in big full quotes. But
you know what, though, man? I read a book. I should go get it in my bookshelf, but I can't reach from here. I can't even remember who wrote it. Some promoter from the Deep South wrote this book about his wrestling experience that I read, and he actually devoted an entire chapter to why promotions will put the belt on family and promotion owners.
That makes sense. I get that part.
I mean, even then, I try to think, you know, even now these days with Triple H semi-retired with the belt, I'm thinking, okay, there's a reason for it, and they know why, and I don't, and go with it, you know.
Yeah, just like I said, for me, I mean, again, I caught myself marking out for Ambrose. I was because my buddy's a smart. He's a smart, you know, he's a smart fan, and. You know, he's one of the few people that I know that we can sit there and he can start dropping references and start talking all the dirt. And I ordered him. By the time he showed up, he was not to go anywhere near the internet for like 12 hours. And even if he knew stuff, he wasn't allowed to tell me because I wanted to be surprised. All my manias, all my rumbles and all that stuff get completely ruined because I hear all the spoilers and that's what pissed me off is that all the gambling websites like leaked out that Triple H was winning, and so I knew who was going to win. But for me, it was like, okay, I just want to go for the ride. I don't want to know who's like at the airport and who's been spotted and all this stuff. I wanted to just like sit back and relax and watch the Rumble.
Yeah.
I tell you, that's the way to do it. Avoid all that stuff as humanly possible.
Yep, I had the same way, man. Exactly.
Because it is. It completely allowed me to like completely lose my shit when AJ hit, and so it was fun. But I said, aside from the ending, and I was marking out hard for Ambrose. I was sitting there going, "Come on," like yelling at the TV. And my buddy was getting a big kick out of it.
Too funny.
But I don't know. I even root for Roman Reigns these days. It seems like he's kind of gotten over his hump, and there was just no need to take the belt off him at this point. Or if you're going to do it, make a new star in Ambrose.
I think the Roman Reigns hate has nothing to do with the talent or dedication of Roman Reigns. You know what I mean? It's the way he was booked that people weren't ready for. You know what I mean? Just weren't ready for.
He's not a big mic guy, and I just don't understand necessarily why a guy can't come out and just kill shit. I mean, that gets over for me. I don't need to hear him be The Rock. I don't need to hear him cut jokes and all that kind of stuff. I don't need that. I just come out and kill stuff. That's fine by me,
They should put him with Heyman. I'd take care of it.
Well, I tell you. All right, Joe. Video game wrap. Oh, that's our radio show guy.
Hey,
what did you hate about the Rumble? See, I thought everything was awesome up until the end. I thought all the spots were good. I had fun watching it. I don't know, just me.
I love our chat room.
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. No, but and then last night, I don't know if you happened to catch Raw or not, but it was AJ and Jericho.
I was talking to one of our customers on Steam before Raw. And we were talking about AJ, and I was like, man, I don't care what they do. I know business is what it is, but I said, all I want to see, I just want to see AJ versus Jericho. I know it'll never happen. I know I'll never get to see it. They'll never book it, but that's what I want to see. And sure enough, man, an hour later, I'm marking out. Like, what the hell?
And Jericho's been kind of known to do that. Like, he kind of comes out, and because everybody else on Twitter was like, yeah, when... Oh, I can't remember. A couple other people jumped. He's like the guy who you can just kind of throw. You can just throw him into the ring with Jericho, and it's going to be a good match. Jericho is just such a good veteran, and it was great. It was fun, and it kind of looks like they're going to be going toe to toe at the next pay-per-view at Fastlane.
You know what else, man? Jericho is an amazingly funny author. You got to read his books if you get a chance.
I've heard that before. I've got to track those things down. You're right. They sound like he did. He has some pretty good stories.
Oh, awesome stories. Like training with the Hearts, and there were no Hearts there. That's one of my favorite stories. They took his money and handed him over to some schmuck to train him. But
really?
Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't Brett running the show or anything, so no slag on him or anything. But yeah, he's got amazingly funny stories coming up through the indies.
I've always liked. Now I know there's a lot of he's taken a lot of heat here the last because he kind of has come back and everybody kind of refers to him as Dad, and that's kind of funny. But like I said, as long as he's still, I don't find him as quote unquote entertaining. The mic skills and all that stuff. I mean, the same jokes that worked 10 years ago don't really work nowadays. And
I just watched on the network. They dedicated a whole Monday Night Wars episode to Jericho.
Oh yeah, it was because he was one of the big ones that jumped. I mean, and again, when he had said that AJ's debut is the only thing that ever has come close. I still think Jericho's is always going to be number one, just because of how it happened. He put him right out there with The Rock. He acted the part. It just, for me, I completely lost my shit when I remember seeing that. And I still get goosebumps every time. I'll watch it every once in a while just to watch that debut again.
Do you ever watch those top 10 lists on the network?
Not so much on the network. Every once in a while, maybe catch some of those things, but usually I find them. They're kind of annoying. They're annoyingly put together for me. So
they are. I watched one. It was the top 10 returns of all time. Okay, pissed me off first that Bret Hart was number 10. I'm like, are you kidding me? Bret Hart's return was number 10, but the number one return was John Cena to the Royal Rumble. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
okay, I get
well,
it.
that was legit because nobody thought it
Yeah.
was coming. Everybody, because he was supposed to be out for the year. Like he had I think it was a torn rotator cuff or something like that, and
pec,
Madison
yeah.
Square Garden, like they completely lost their mind.
That was legit. Eh? See, I
That's,
never
that's
saw
legit.
that.
That is a legit because that was one of those. It was a really really well guarded secret, and nobody knew that was coming. And again, he was out. He was not supposed to be anywhere near that building. And there you go. So
Oh, that's funny, man. Yeah, no, they're a funny list. It seems that, no matter what the list is, there's a Triple H in the top 3 somewhere for some reason. So they're kind of funny. But I don't know why, man. I get a kick out of the network. I think is the best product WWE's put out ever.
I'm having fun with
can't
it.
get enough.
I'm having fun with it.
I would pay freaking $50 a month for that service. I love it so much.
I wouldn't pay that much. I would, but I'm happy. I think they've struck a nice little sweet spot. I've been very very happy with all the. And I don't really watch a lot of the originals like the ride along or but I like a lot of the. I mean, because I take it back. I guess I do like some of the originals like the anything Renee Young in. I'm not too ashamed to admit that I will pretty much watch anything that she's on.
She's awesome. She's like a legit freaking wrestling star.
I don't know how they're going to hold on to her. I can't see her being in ESPN within a year. You know what I mean? Like, she's so talented.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Where they got her from was the Canadian version of ESPN, and right now they've replaced Renee with another girl who is equally amazingly a freaking wrestling know-it-all like fan. So they're percolating her replacement should they need one. Yeah,
okay, so Breaking Ground. Okay, we're hearing. I'm getting some. I watched a little bit of that and kind of got bored. And I got to tell you, I still struggle with NXT. I love the matches and the in-ring action, and when they go on the road and they have like their takeover specials, like in front of a quote, I'm going to use the term real crowd.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Like when Bayley and Sasha had their match, I thought that was absolutely incredible.
Charlotte and
Becky had a great match on the Rumble. I thought they had fun. I thought they had a good match.
I thought Charlotte and Natalia at NXT was awesome.
Yeah, so it's like I said, it's okay. So I'm hearing Swerved is okay.
It's not bad. It's a little contrived.
That's what I'm saying. Some of that stuff is just like you can just tell they're looking for cheap programming.
I dig Breaking Ground though. Breaking Ground I think is cool. They don't pull too many punches, man. Like they're firing some pretty emotional kids on the air, which sucks. I don't like seeing that. You see some broken hearts, right? And I thought it was interesting them showing poor Tyler Breeze getting bullied about his tassels. And really, that happens.
I didn't remember that. I did watch that episode.
So I think they're showing some cool stuff, and they're not afraid to paint some of those guys in a realistically maybe crappy light as human beings. But it's. I'm glad they're showing it. I think anybody interested in maybe getting into wrestling and going that route.
Somebody's in there like, Renee Young only gets 10 minutes for her little expose show, and you're damn right. I don't want 30 minutes of Renee Young interviewing somebody. I don't care who it is.
She used to do her and what do they call him? His real name was Orta Okal, and he came at the same time. No, not Morrow. Morrow is a really awesome.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember what his name is.
They changed his name to something generic. He's got short brown hair, and he's a newish guy. Came along with Renee, and they used to do an hour live with that old WWE ref Jimmy. I can't remember his name. He wrote a book too, and they used to do an hour live on the air after Raw, where they would do their take on what went down on WWE Raw that night, live after Raw, and it was like, it was a lot of times better to watch the Raw, watching them debate what they thought about it, and they lit it up. They're awesome. They should team them both back up again if they know it's good for them.
We had, to just kind of follow up on some of the chat. Yes, Chris Benoit has not been edited out of the network, but I guess I guess you can't search for him. Like if you type in the name Benoit, you're not going to get any results. But all the stuff's intact. I mean, you just can't edit history like that. I mean, it is what it is, and there's been a lot of shitbag wrestlers over the years that have also, hell, Snook is still on the network, and Lord only knows what happened to him. But it's, I think.
Hey, Road Warrior Ace is in the chat room.
Road Warrior
Good to
Ace.
see it, Nav. Buddy,
Nav's in.
He's one of the most hardcore testers we've ever had for the game, man. He's found bugs on top of bugs that we didn't know were even possible. So he's really, as tight as the game is right now, I think you could probably give Road Warrior Ace credit for about 80% of the bugs that we've been able to fix.
Oh yeah, he's one of our old school. Yeah, he's just saying he's been in pro wrestling since 2003. Yeah, I know, dude. I've got a database of everybody, and he's one of our oldest. It's great. It's great that they're still with us. It's so funny because a lot of people were like, yeah, I was like, in high school when I started following you guys, and now I have like 3 kids. You're like, oh my God. Oh my God.
It's kind of funny, and I don't want to, this is probably stretching it a lot. But, when I think of when we started out, way back before we had the telephone funding and even did a demo, that's when AJ was starting out, and that's when we would talk like every weekend, like about virtual pro wrestling too and stuff. And AJ was going to join our crew as soon as we got funding. You know what I mean? And of course that took forever and never happened. But I think it's so awesome, like, see Pro Wrestling X finally get to where it's getting and be out on Steam, which is like, it's the WWE of PC fucking distribution. You know what I mean? Like the parallels that we both stuck to our guns, did it our own way, and we're both kind of finally getting somewhere for all the crap we taken for trying to get there, right? So yeah, that's the way I see it.
Hopefully his rise mirrors our rise. And hopefully that'll be the case, as AJ was kind of in obscurity there for a little while, and then he made, last year he's kind of gotten a little bit more high profile over at New Japan and at Ring of Honor, and that's not really, I guess TNA, he had some good years in TNA where he had some profile matches, but
well, yeah, you're right, it's exactly the same. Like our worst time was right before our best time. I consider this our best time, and right before it was our worst ever. So yeah.
It's been even just like an interesting. I mean, you really think about it. I mean, when did we? Like, it was in June that we released the latest, that Robert's first build. I think it was June.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
we had realized about 4 months after we released on Steam that we weren't getting updated again with our current programming team, right? Like, it just wasn't going to happen, and we were like, we're dead, we're doomed. We went out on Steam, made a big deal about it, we're going to do all these updates, and it's not going to happen now. It's out of our control. Eric and I and Colo, we're not programmers. There's nothing.
Well, I thought it was over. I thought it was done.
Yeah.
I'm not even embarrassed to admit that. I mean, it's
no, you and I had the conversation about, Eric, what if this is it, man? What if after all these years we are 100% effed at this point, like, it was brutal. And then I remember saying to you, man, we just need that fourth horseman. We need that programmer who's as ridiculous about wrestling and wrestling games as we are. We just need to find him. He's got to be out there. I swear to God, it wasn't 48 hours later. I'm like, dude, you will not guess the message I just got on Facebook, of all things. Let's check this out. And Robert was talking to us, and he was saying all the right things. He He even had the guts to admit that he loved Def Jam Vendetta, which is, that's like the litmus test, man. So he said, let me get you a playable demo of what I can do. And he's like, just give me a few days to throw something together and show you what I can do. So you saw what we had on Steam when we launched. We had a punch and a brain buster, and you could walk through the ropes. It wasn't very much or tight at all, right? And in 48 hours, Robert, he dropped a little executable file in my mailbox, and I opened it up, and it wasn't a complete game.
Is that the one with AJ?
Yeah, I don't think people know that, but the first Pro Wrestling X demo we had from Robert featured AJ Styles model, which is kind of funny, and yeah, it had strong, medium, weak strikes, top rope moves, submissions, up and back and front and back submissions, and it had specials and taunts and running.
That was the executable that you couldn't figure out how to work it. You had to hit like the P button 3 times in a row in order to be able to launch the game or something like that.
Yeah. There was a Konami code to even launch it, for Paranoia or something, I don't know. But, it was too funny. And then we're playing this, we're going, come on. Like, I was so... I don't think I've been equally excited and embarrassed at the same time, because I remember talking to Eric, I can't believe that this guy has given me something in 2 days, and it eclipses what we have on Steam. you know, like by magnitude, you know, like it was ridiculous. And it worked out, you know. I couldn't believe it was true. I'm like, there's no way this guy's legit. He's got to be a serial killer. He's got to be. Robert, I hope you're listening, buddy. There's got to be something wrong with this guy. It can't possibly be true. We couldn't have possibly found the fourth guy to perfectly fit this crew after all these years. And, you know, I dialed him up. I talked to him. I got him on the phone. I gave him the third degree. And he said all the right stuff, man. He got all the Brian Pillman jokes. He could talk NWO. You know, he could talk Aki Games and Imports and Fire Pro. And, like, most importantly, and nobody can argue this point, and I'm not trying to diss anyone previously, but he can outperform and run circles around almost anybody when it comes to programming. When he's got the animations and content, it's a done deal with Robert. You know, he's going to get it done.
I'm kind of catching up on chat here a little bit. Yes, Cola has got a little bit of work in terms of cleanup and all that stuff for animation. So there's always going to be like little tweaks and little blending and all that kind of stuff that needs to be done. So that's gonna. He's definitely wants to take. I know for a fact he wants to take a pass at cleaning up all that kind of stuff by the time it's said and done. We're working on. There's a lot of discussion about Creator Wrestler. I posted a link in our crew forum. Must have been like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 days ago. It was basically like, if you can just like think of every match mode humanly possible in one match. It was like the great. Oh my god, this thing was a trend. It was electrified barbed wire with tear gas, and then like with midgets. And did you see this? Did you watch that video?
I did. It was ridiculous.
My god! You know what? I'm gonna have to pull this up on YouTube so everybody else can see this thing. This was funny. Like, this was one of the greatest matches I've ever seen. I had never seen tear gas, quote unquote tear gas, in the match. Ridiculous, and then they just had. I got to pull this thing up because.
As an aside, my wife is not a fan of wrestling. She watches, you know, the Diva show. She kind of digs that reality show stuff and whatever, but she will not watch wrestling with me. But the other night, I think she was just passing by and she saw, was it Roman Reigns or something, picking up the poor little midget guy and throwing him out of the ring? And she actually stood there and she started howling. She goes, "Did he just throw a midget at that guy?" And she sat down and said, "I think I like wrestling now." I guess that's what it takes.
Yeah, I thought it was just the funniest damn thing. I'm trying to find this match again.
No, it's FMW,
also right?
Yeah, FMW. It's on our Facebook page. Isn't it? No, it's on our crew forum. Sorry. Yeah. What's also funny is I've always heard recently politically correct, you know, that midget is a bad term. Don't use it. You know.
Well, I don't know. I said I don't know what the correct term is.
I don't know what it is because recently a wrestling show came through town. And it was a midget wrestling show, and they billed themselves as midget wrestling.
I didn't think they were dwarfs. I didn't think that's what it was. I thought that was.
Yeah, and we're not trying to be insensitive here. We actually want to be good guys and get it right. If we are being rude, we want to fix it. But no, when I see that midget wrestling show promotes itself as midget wrestling, how can that possibly be politically incorrect? You know, I don't get it. But
well, that's just it. I thought that was I thought that was okay. Oh my god, dude! I googled it. Now I found like 30 of these matches. Oh no! Oh no! I'm gonna have to see if I can find which one it is because it said it was.
Well, you got it on our crew forum, all right?
Yeah, but I don't have that linked up on my. Oh, there it is. It's.
Well, allow me to grab it. Want me to grab it?
Yeah, I think I found it.
All right.
I think so, anyway. Yeah, let me pull this up here. I'm trying to find...
While we have this brief pause, I would like to promote and help our friend David Horn get more people to look at his game, Action Arcade Wrestling featuring Chikara. If you haven't checked it out yet, Google it, look it up on Facebook. I think we have a link from our page. He's decided to go with a cell, like toon shaded art style as a default for the game because he's going for a really arcadey, over the top kind of thing. So it's looking really unique, and he's actually if I read this correctly, he's actually in line to possibly get some funding from Unreal themselves to maybe finish the game. So
I had not heard that.
Yeah, so apparently he's tried before and was unsuccessful, but he's going to try again now because this project that he's working on is possibly a bit more potential for some mainstream success, right? So yeah, he's looking to do that. So if you guys haven't heard of it, he put it on early access. Now, Dave Horn, my friend, if you were listening, I'm pissed off, but I'm not really pissed off. He put it on early access, and he was greenlit he put it on Steam Greenlight, and he was greenlit, I think, in less than 24 hours. Remember when we put our game on Greenlight? What did it take? 6 months? A year?
Oh God, I can't even remember.
To get Greenlight on Steam. Well, back when we started Greenlight, we started on day one, and there were thousands of games, and you had to get. I think we ended up having to get 18,000 upvotes to get greenlit on Steam. But Dave Horn was smart. He waited it out a year, so when he put his game on Steam, I think he only needed 800 votes to actually get greenlit.
Yeah, I was gonna say not that we did it the right way. But...
So I was talking with him, and I was like, "You bastard! Like, you know how long it took me to get greenlit?" But good for him, man. He's never made a bad move. He's never made a bad decision. I mean, he runs his own business. He's got a good family, and he's got possibly one of the best heads on his shoulders in the indie game development community. And he makes all the right moves. He's patient. He never reacts. He does his thing, and I think if you can bet on a success in the indie wrestling community, of course, Pro Wrestling X, of course. But Dave Horn and whatever he does, man, is money in the bank as far as I'm concerned.
He's one of the five families of you got M. Dickey, you got dude. This is what I want. I want if I'm going to have a referee out like call create a referee. I want to be wearing like goggles and then have like a fan. Look at this! Oh, look at that! Oh no! It's ridiculous. I mean,
it's him with a fan, really.
Oh my God! And it's like I said, they have like these. Oh my God! Oh man! See, I could watch this 100 times. But the reason why I was drawn to this match is because I thought. This was like the ultimate extreme. Like if you're looking for every conceivable thing that you would turn on in a match, in terms of barbed wire and electrified and tear gas in the corners and then midgets on top of it.
You're welcome, Alex. Alex is saying thank you to me for some reason, but you're welcome for whatever you're saying thank you for. It's all good.
Cola?
No, Alex Van Dam in chat.
Oh, okay.
More referee options would be awesome. We don't even have a referee in our game yet. I think a referee is not going to come.
I want to be the first ref. I really do. I really want to be a ref. But yeah, so I got to see if I can fast forward to where they actually the match is won. Let me see if I can find this. And then like the whole ring just gets flooded with tear gas, like quote unquote tear gas. Here it is, right here.
Slateboard in chat is saying, "Wish you could create a referee and customize their personality. Then you should play some Fire Pro Wrestling, my friend."
Well, hey, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get.
You can make heel refs that slow count the good guy and all that stuff. Like it's 20 years ahead of its time. It's awesome.
See, this is great.
Sax dude said, "Create a fan." We're gonna give you guys actually access to the fan models in our crowd, so you can go and create them as deeply detailed as you want. We'll give you all the Photoshop files and whatnot, and you'll have Create a Fan just because the game's on PC and you can crack it open on Photoshop. It'll be awesome.
Oh my goodness! I can sit there. I can watch that match forever. I'm going to have to go track down some of those other ones now.
Road Warrior Ace is asking, how's the blocking of striking and grappling? Is it more fair? Nope, it's still extremely cheap. We got some things we gotta put in the queue of things to work on. And after reading over the Steam forums, I totally need to apologize. I've been completely guilty of always defaulting to my controller and neglecting testing the game with the keyboard controls, and apparently the keyboard controls are really kind of difficult for some people to get a grasp of.
Well, that is the one downside of these kind of games is that you pretty much have to have an a USB controller of some kind to really be able to play these things. It really sucks, and I hate having people either have to go buy one or to repurpose one. I wish I could do some kind of a deal where we had like an Amazon sale or something where we could give people like a coupon code or something that would get a little bit of a discount on this stuff. But
I'm talking to Steam. I didn't
a regular Xbox 360 controller with a PC. Is it just a USB controller, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Absolutely. And I'm actually trying to get us a deal where we can do a combination sale. I haven't even told you this yet, Eric. I'm trying to get a combination done with buy our game with Steam controller.
Oh, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, Steam controllers they're neat.
I've not had my hands on one.
It's love-hate. They are so powerful and sensitive that they're not perfect for everything, but I think they'd be awesome for us. So I'm hopefully going to get...
You would think you would be able to turn down the sensitivity on something like that.
Well, and you can. That's the thing. It is probably one of the best programmable controllers I've ever read about. I haven't used one yet.
Yes, I've not seen one. I thought we could have... Couldn't we apply for as a developer? Couldn't we ask for some?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because step number one is please give us developers free Steam controllers. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so check your mailbox, hopefully, in the next few weeks. I might get lucky.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I could make that work.
By the way, shout out to Steam for actually returning my freaking emails and phone calls. Thank you. Because they are notorious for getting way too much communication than they can even handle, right? But they've been extremely nice to the Pro Wrestling X boys, so... Thank you.
Cool. Good deal.
Yeah. Hope we might have to change the name to Steam Pro Wrestling X. I don't know.
What?
No, I'm just kidding.
Then we'll have a special humble edition if it features the Iron Sheik or something. As part of the humble Pro Wrestling X. If we would have got to go in that store. But
yeah, everybody's saying Sax Dude, he's hoping this turns out better than 2K16, and I gotta tell you, man, we're trying to do what we do really well, but it's daunting to try to come anywhere near competing with the size of the team and budget that the 2K games have. We're 4 guys working part-time because we love this. How do you compete with a full-time studio full of 50 to 100 guys? How do you, in terms of content? In fact, straight up, I don't care if the fans know this, but the next step in this game is, we need to put people to work on content, because we've got the basic mechanics. Now we need 100, 200, 1,000 front grapple moves, back grapple moves, taunts, and finishers. We got all that work in, and poor Cola can't crank that out. He's one guy, right? So, we have to kind of get to that next step, or else we'll just keep progressing at the rate we are, which, as happy as I am we'll never get to AAA 2K16 amount of content in our game until we can crank up the development,
Sorry, I'm catching up on chat here. Didn't mean to leave
Dave's good, man. It's a stable called the Jam Tarts.
I love that. That is fantastic. That actually sounds like a good backup group. Dave and the Jam. I'm going down to the club and go see Dave and the Jam Tarts tonight. You want to come? It's like a $5 cover.
Guilty nerd admission. I think in every wrestling game, I would create my brother and my dad as a stable called the Slaughterhouse. I don't know.
Slaughterhouse. I have not heard this before.
Really?
No.
Someone told me once that they thought the Funks called themselves Slaughterhouse for a period. I wasn't sure.
Ooh, I don't know if I've heard that one before.
Okay, cool. I'll take it.
We always had a bunch of creative wrestling. I had that was what we ought to do. Is I want to be able to recreate my No Mercy.
What's that? Yourself. You once sent me a picture of you in a Mexican wrestling mask.
Oh yeah. Well, that's different. Okay, that's something totally different. This was back before YouTube. Me and my brothers did a backyard sports entertainment show. And we filmed all this footage of us, just kicking each other's asses, and then with really, really stupid gimmicks. But yeah, we called ourselves Backyard Sports Entertainment because we weren't nearly athletic enough to be backyard wrestlers, and we didn't have barbed wire and fire and all that, and a ring and all that stuff. So we would just go out in the yard and just have these really stupid gimmicks and all that stuff. And yeah, that's, oh man, if YouTube would have been around when we were doing this, I would be on an island right now counting my money because we would have been so rich. We had like a little following in Texas, but beyond that, it never really went anywhere. But I still threaten my brothers with uploading all that raw footage someday. To ensure that none of them ever get, employed ever again.
Too funny. Yeah, keeping up with chat, like you said. Alex Van Dam just wants some weapon taunts, damn it. Well, hey, glad you mentioned that. One of the things we have to deliver for Kickstarter is weapons, and if we can, we'll throw a weapon in there, man. I've always liked the classic taunt we had for the steel chair, which was raising the steel chair and giving the finger with your other hand. I thought that was a good one that we had in Pro Wrestling X Uprising. We might have to steal from ourselves. I don't know. Saxby was asking, do you think you can compete against the Chikara wrestling game that's coming to Steam?
The Chikara wrestling game is going to be an entirely different kind of game, though.
Yeah, people, and once you see Pro Wrestling X go the direction it's going to go in, and believe me, I'm great friends with Dave Horn. He is a great family guy wanting to make a family-friendly, arcade-style fun game, and I can pretty much guarantee that Pro Wrestling X one day will be the kind of game that Dave Horn would be embarrassed to be associated with, would hide his face from. No, but I'm just saying, Pro Wrestling X.
Dave's more arcade. He likes the more and that's awesome. I mean, he's going to have like laser projectiles and all that kind of stuff, and that fits Chikara to a T. That's why he was the perfect guy for that.
Yeah, so the Chikara wrestling game might have, might be shades of Street Fighter, and that's what he's trying to do, right? Whereas, Pro Wrestling X is obviously always been more of a trying to go.
We're trying to be No Mercy. I mean, that's our spiritual successor. That's our and then if we can combine the customization and the stats of Fire Pro, I think that to me is the
Exactly. You've probably heard the phrase, what would Jesus do? We've always said, what would Aki do? And we've always tried, we've always tried to be the successor to No Mercy. And like Eric just showed you the video of the FMW. That's what we wanted to, Pro Wrestling X, obviously, if you want to just have a regular, regular rules match, great. We hope to be the best game to offer that experience, but we also want to give you guys full out control to go completely nuts with that hardcore insanity. I mean, if the end of a Pro Wrestling X hardcore match doesn't look like a crime scene, then we haven't done our job, Like, we've got scaffold matches coming up down the road, and of course...
Got a cage built. We have that on one of our old Twitch broadcasts, seeing that being built, the old blue cage.
Cage is built and ready to go. We've got the kendo stick, ready to rock. It's not going to be long until we've got exploding barbed wire C4 tables. But I mean, we got to get the core gameplay.
We have to be able to climb to the outside of the ring first.
Yeah, little things like that. Get the proper finisher mechanic working and everything, and we got tons of work to do on AI controls, and there's so much stuff we got to do that's not sexy in terms of, we still haven't launched the game on Mac and Linux, which we promised to do, and we can and will do, but that's got to come. That's going to take testing.
Yeah, that's actually a point of, I wanted to point that out, is we actually have a Mac build that's actually functional. When I went and met up with AJ before a Ring of Honor show, because I wanted to show him the game, and I don't have a PC laptop, and Robert was able to get a Mac version out the door very quickly. The downside is I had to buy a $5 app that allowed for remapping of my controls to like a USB controller. And so what I didn't want to ask fans to go out and buy another $5 app, just to be able to play our game. And so we have to do a little bit more in terms of building our own remapping of the controller scheme. So that's kind of what the delay is. Like, it's not from a technical standpoint because it's working. It works like a charm. And the problem is, like I said, it wasn't. We didn't think it was fair to be able to ask, fans who had just went and paid $10 for something to have to go pay another $5 just to be able to have a good experience on this thing. But it does work. It does work.
Yeah. Although someone just said in chat you could use Joy 2 Key. I've heard that.
It doesn't work for a USB controller with our game. I checked. I tried.
That's funny because using the Unity engine as we are, it's supposed to be one of the aspects of it.
I think it's got something. It's got more. I said I tried it and it did not work. And so maybe you know, like I said, I'm not. Maybe I don't know exactly where the error lies. I had quite a few of apps that I tried through, and there was only one, because it was something like it's specifically if oh gosh, I'm going to get it all messed up, so I'm not going to say anymore. But it was something like if your game was going to be in full screen mode or something like that, that it wouldn't detect the keys, or if you had like a mix of like keyboard and mouse. There was a whole reason. I tried all of them, and this app from the App Store was the only one that I could actually get successfully to work. So there you go.
Okay, fair enough. Another question in chat. What percentage would you say Pro Wrestling X is now compared to the final vision of the game? Not even 1% of 1%.
I was going to say less than 5.
Yeah, it's not even 1%. I mean, consider this. We eventually want every wrestling move from every Aki game in our game. We want every move from Fire Pro in our game. We want to create a wrestler with, you know, AI, you know, tweaking and everything, just like Fire Pro. We want, you know, every type of venue you can think of, from like high school gymnasiums to open air stadiums. We want story modes written by the guys who wrote Sons of Anarchy. That's my wish anyway. And we want you know, we just want depth. We want more content than you've seen in every other game. I want every backstage venue from Here Comes the Pain in this game. You know, we want everything that every other wrestling game has done well to eventually be in Pro Wrestling X. That could take years, obviously, and I don't think Pro Wrestling X will ever be finished. It will always be open to add more. You know, I think we've come to realize in the last few years that Pro Wrestling X is not about finishing a game. It's about giving people a big platform that they can like create and add to, you know. So I don't think it'll ever be done, man. As long as they're still doing new things in wrestling, there'll be new things to add to Pro Wrestling X. Especially if anyone saw that ICW entrance with the big inflatable rubber ball. I mean, that's eventually got to be in Pro Wrestling X.
Boy, was that hilarious! Oh my God, that was really funny. If anybody was like, if we got new people, Facebook.com/Pro Wrestling X. Twitter, follow us at Pro Wrestling X, ProWrestlingX.com. It's got our email list you can sign up for. We send out something once a week. If you go to our Facebook page currently, Dave posted a video with an indie wrestler. I can't remember who it was, but he had one. He had a fantastic.
Yeah, I feel bad. Everybody should know his name, and I don't. Some more questions from chat. Oh boy, I gotta go up here a little bit. Keep Kurt Stutter away from Pro Wrestling X. Yeah, I'm not too big on his new series. I didn't even make it a few episodes in. Yeah, not so much. Slateboard said, "You with me, Eric?"
Yep.
Okay, cool. Slateboard says the best way to achieve a lot of these goals is to progress the game to where you can provide the tools to players to produce content like moves, arenas, etc. I completely agree. These tools take time and money to make, and we're working on that too, man. Want to put my voice as a commentator? It's actually good. When we add commentating, it's going to be as easy as here's all our audio files. Go and replace them. If you want. Road Warrior, how far are you from the Kickstarter 1.0 goal? I think we've got only 2 or 3 checkboxes to tick.
Yep, weapons,
cage,
climbing in and out of the ring.
Cage, and climbing in and out of the ring now is as good as done. Robert's got all the animations he needs. He'll get that done in his sleep. We've got the third character, the cage, and weapons. The cage is already built. The crew's already been talking about what sort of cage interaction are we going to ship with. Because again, no matter what we give you guys to do with the cage match, we will always add more. So the question is, well, what's good enough to start with? Should you at least be able to bash the guy's head open on the cage, climb it, and jump off? At least, yeah, I think you should at least be able to do that. But see what we can get done. Same with weapons. We're starting off with just the baseball grip weapons, like a kendo stick, and you're going to be able to do a strike to a standing opponent, downed opponent. Probably do a taunt in there before we consider that, like 0.1 weapons and ship it. So yeah, not too far at all. And sadly, well, not sadly, whatever. If this crew was locked in a room together, we could get that done in 2 days. But people got to pay some bills and work some day jobs, so might be a few weeks. On the on the upside. Never finished, Saxty says. Does that mean always early access? Or 4 years later it'll just be patches? No, we're talking about what we will consider Pro Wrestling X 1.0 on Steam out of early access. We don't think it's fair right now to call Pro Wrestling X anywhere near 1.0 complete as a retail game on Steam for any amount of money. You know, we don't want to take anybody's money and it's a complete game yet. Right now we're in early access. People are well aware of the expectations of early access. Our video is very honest about what we're doing and what we're at, so we're cool with where we are in early access. But we want to add, you know, a whole bunch of stuff to the game before we say, okay, this is now out of early access and we can take at least $10-15 for it on the Steam market, you know. So once it's at that point, though, it's still not going to be, we're not going to stop adding to it, and we're, you know, I don't think it's going to be a business model of like, this is Pro Wrestling X and 2 years later we'll come out with Pro Wrestling X 2 or anything like that. No, we'll keep updating it just like we are in early access. At least I believe that's the way we want to keep doing it, you know. Why not keep giving you guys the improvements as they come? Why make you wait a year for, you know,
well, and it's just, it's kind of as it goes against, I mean, we're not trying to, like, you know, it's not a, we're not trying to squeeze $50 out of you every year, like a certain league, you know, where they and this time they're, you know, like what is the big difference between 15 and 6, like 2K15 and 2K16? I mean, it really, you know, it's just it's just a cash grab, and so for us, it's like, okay, let's just build an awesome game, and then, you know, maybe give you guys ways to kind of support us, you know, after you buy it, you know, with some other things. But we're not, you know, the sequel crap, where it's just it's just a cash grab every year.
Sequelitis is probably not. Pro Wrestling X is always going to be probably just Pro Wrestling X, not Pro Wrestling X, you know, 2017, 2018. We're just going to keep making it bigger and better, and once you buy the game, you're going to keep getting the stuff, you know, we make for it. I mean, we're talking, yeah, maybe it would be cool if we can do, like, you know, something like a really cool, you know, story. Maybe we can do, like, you know, expansion packs, like story mode chapters or something, where people who don't care about that stuff don't need to get it. People that do will want to get it, maybe, you know, and that might be fun to do. We got to, I think, you know, you guys aren't stupid, you know, to be honest. We have to find a way to keep making a few bucks, or we'll always just be hobbyists. If we ever want to kick it into full gear and crank this out full time, we need to generate revenue, and getting people to support what we're doing is kind of a challenging conversation we're happening right now. There's so many. Well,
and it's such a race to the bottom for games.
Yeah.
All these games that are in the App Store for like 99 cents and all that stuff. It's just very hard. And we got 4 guys that we'd love to get. Just tell everybody to quit their day jobs and just do wrestling games for the rest of their lives. But you can't do that at 99 cents a pull. You know, you just can't do it. Especially when you have, like, you know, Steam takes their cut, and there's sales tax, and there's, you know, all this other stuff that goes into all that stuff. And it's just, it's hard. And so you try to pick a price point that is, you know, it's not obnoxious. There's certainly early access games that are out there that are $40 and $50. We didn't want to go that route. And so, you know, $10 felt about right, you know.
It did feel about right. Like, I mean, and it's because, and again, it's because our philosophy is that we'll always keep building the game without asking you to keep paying $50 a year for it, you know, for every version that comes out, is the kind of idea. And like Sax Dude said, do you think it's fair then that you're charging $10 maybe for a game that's only 1% done? Yeah, because honestly, by the time Pro Wrestling X is considered anywhere near 100%, I swear to God, it's going to be probably a $200 or $300 game compared to WWE stuff by the time we're done. We don't plan to stop when the game is, you know, hallelujah, one day is as big in scope as a WWE game. We're just going to keep tearing ahead, you know. That's,
well, and it's kind of like you're getting in, and you're in on the ground floor now. I mean, like I said, we're not going to, you know, we're not going to just say, okay, great, thanks for your $10, and if you want all these great additions and all that kind of stuff, okay, you're going to have to wait for our next sequel that's going to come out in 6 months. Like, that's not how we like to do games. We want to just keep building on this thing, and the game's eventually going to get more and more expensive as it grows on. But we're not going to ask people to keep doing all that stuff over and over and over again.
Yeah, like we're not asking people to pay for the updates we're putting out. Obviously, that seems ridiculous to me. And
I think what we'll end up doing is we're going to give you guys mechanisms by which you can support us if you want to, but not like do all this in-app purchasing and all this stuff. It's just we're all kind of older school, like at least Dave and I are like old school when it comes to games. Like I don't like all this nickel and diming you every step of the way, and it's free to play, but if you want to make the game fun, here you got to spend $30 in in-game currency and all this stuff. And that's not how we roll. It doesn't mean that may not be coming down the road, but it's just that's not against that. That's not our instinct. That's not what we feel like doing. We feel like, okay, you buy the game once, and then we'll just kind of keep updating it. And if you guys want to support us, and we hope that we can kind of maybe try to earn your trust with some of that stuff. Okay, cool. Here's a couple of ways that you can support us within in game, but it's not, we're not going to try to take all the fun out of the game and then just like charge you extra along the way. So
one day you guys will feel so damn guilty that you only gave us $10. You'll be begging to throw more money at us.
I hope so.
Like Alex Van Damme said, open donation spots. I feel funny about donations though. Real funny. And I mean,
well, you don't donate. You just say you're I've always thought, okay, if somebody wants to buy like a vanity belt, that is just like, this is my way of being able to. So you're actually giving them something out of the deal. It's not just like here's a bunch of money. You can get something else out of it that's more fun. Like with Team Fortress 2 does the hats and all that kind of stuff. And we're still talking about all that stuff. Oh
yeah, back in this was a couple of years ago, but I remember once just opening our PayPal account and someone had sent me $1,000. Yeah. And I was like, dude, I can't take this. And he was adamant. No, I have it. I can afford it. I want to help. I don't want anything in return. Take it. And I'm like, you're ridiculous, but thank you.
Well, that's been the story that's why we're still standing after 12 years, is we've had the support. People have been giving us money since 2003 for T-shirts and all kinds of stuff. And it's a lot of these people are still with us, and it's wonderful. So that's one of the reasons why we keep going, is it's like just out of like, God, we got to do right by these guys. We talk about it all the time,
Exactly, and even the people who say, "Man, I would so donate to you guys," and that, don't donate to us. We'll offer you some stuff. We'll still do a round of T-shirts or something fun for everybody. Because if you want to give us $20, let us give you something in return. It's not a huge priority for us right now to do that kind of thing, but I mean, we're gonna do it. It's fun. Man, this shot of the guy on the ground surrounded by blood should be the box art.
Oh God, I tell you, it's pretty funny.
You want to get attention, man.
Yep.
Alex Van Damme, is there any place to get a Pro Wrestling X T-shirt? Nope. I don't know if anyone new to the project might not know this, but we've done 3 T-shirts in the past. They've all sold out, and we've always had a philosophy because we kind of dig the whole idea of collectible stuff. When we make T-shirts available, we print up a run of them ourselves. Usually, we might do it differently in the future, but we physically print up the T-shirts ourselves. There's a limited run of them, whether it's a few hundred or whatever, and we tell everybody limit 2 T-shirts per order, and when they're gone, they're gone. You'll never see them again. So, unfortunately, if you like those Pro Wrestling X Believe shirts, the red shirts, the white shirts, they're never coming back. We've got some ideas for some new shirts, and Alex is rocking some cool designs he's been throwing at us that I think are going to sell like hotcakes if we do them. Or, yeah, we'll do them. But, nope. Short answer, no. You can't get any old T-shirts yet.
Holy crap, we've been going an hour. No wonder I'm starting to get tired.
Time passes when you're having fun, man.
Oh God, don't even go. We got a nice little turnout here tonight. This is a decent number of viewers.
Sax Dude's asking, will anyone that was a part of early access get an extra chair color or something special? We hadn't really considered that. Early access on Steam never really gave us a mechanism to hand out any sort of rewards to early access customers. Like we can't even package, if we wanted to, soundtracks or it's really hard to package anything with the game in early access. But you never know in the future.
Well, we have databases of things like going back to what we usually have done is we have kind of saved a special place for people who supported us on Kickstarter and then back to 2003.
Anyone who took a chance on us before we had anything to show. Yeah.
So we've always tried to focus really hard on doing right by them. Early access, it's like we're a lot more. You're actually getting things now, and so it's a little bit of a different, scope. But it doesn't mean that we aren't recognizing who has been, in 5 years' time when we all have our mansions and our islands and all that stuff that's been funded by the game. We know who you are, and I'm gonna know, Joe and all these guys that are in our chat a long time ago. So
exactly. Hey Eric, how much longer are you able to go?
I've got another about 5 minutes in me, and then I gotta hit the hay because I gotta get a website launch tomorrow. So.
It's all good. It's all good. Saxty's asking if we would ever add indie wrestlers to the game to help promote it. Yeah, we totally would. Right now, it's not feasible for us because again, we have one amazing, super awesome, incredible artist who can only physically produce so much so fast. And if we were to add even 3 indie wrestlers to the game, poor Alex would be having his nose to the grindstone every day after work for months to get them looking good and their custom animations and everything in the game. So I would love to do it. I think an investor or some form of funding is going to have to come to the table to produce content. We haven't ruled it out. We've been talking to indie wrestlers. We get offers from indie wrestlers all the time that want to be in the game. If we could, we would. Short answer.
Yep, all that stuff is really, really labor intensive because not only do you have an indie wrestler, but if you're going to do them justice, you got to make sure the art looks hot, and then you have to make sure the wrestler has his moveset. And unless he has a brainbuster for a finisher, we're going to be a little bit limited with what we can do. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. You guys wonder why some games are short on animations, or especially wrestling games. Like a good wrestling animation, like the Brainbuster we did, will take an animator at least 2 or 3 days full time to get looking really good.
Yep.
And multiply that by 1,000 finishing moves.
Yeah, so there's just a certain amount of realism that it would be wonderful to do all that stuff, but it's just very, very hard for right now. Well, we gotta, and especially, we're still trying to get core mechanics built. We're still trying to get, they're not even climbing in another ring yet. You know what I mean? So it's we gotta do these things in stages and in steps, and you kind of have to build ourselves a little bit more foundation before you start going for the big hot indie wrestlers and all that stuff. I would love to do that, but. It's just feasible. It's just not there yet. We have bigger fish to fry right now, and that's making sure that we're on a really, really solid foundation as far as the game mechanics go, and the rest of that stuff is kind of interesting. So
exactly, like if you look at it, 3 indie wrestlers properly done with their movesets is going to cost us, if we got to pay for it, which we'd like to pay our people. You're looking at least $2,000 per character to do justice to. Now, all due respect to the hardworking indie wrestlers out there, how many of them can raise their hands and say, if you put me in the game, I will generate at least an extra $2,000 in revenue for us? I don't want to sound like Donald Trump dickhead capitalist pig or anything, but if it's going to cost us that much money to get the guys in the game, we got to know that we're going to get the money back and not go broke and bankrupt, right? It happens. It's real.
Well, and we have people asking, how come you guys don't do motion capture and all that stuff? Well, that ain't cheap either. To get a guy out there with the ping pong balls and all the equipment and all that stuff. And we've said it's astonishing watching Alex work. He's very good at, it's not perfect, but it's he's got a real feel for how the moves come together, and especially when you're kind of in game, when you slow him way down, you can maybe nitpick a little bit. But boy, that's, you know, he does a really good job, just kind of, and because Alex has talked a little bit about this in previous Twitch chats. Because sometimes what ends up happening is you spend more time cleaning up the mocap, you know, to make it look smooth and get all the bugs out of it and everything. And it just ends up being faster to just model it the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, for moves to fit in the game, they literally have to start at an exact position and end at an exact position, so everything flows together. So to get a mocap performer to start and end in a perfectly same spot every time is impossible. You need a cleanup animator to literally clean that stuff up and pull it where it needs to be. And yeah, like Alex said, a lot of times that's more work than just animating the damn move from scratch, you know?
Yep. And so it's you know, I'm sure there's, you know, when you're talking about maybe thousands of moves and all that stuff, maybe there is, and maybe when you've got, you know, some cheaper overseas labor or something where people can just, that's all they do is just clean all that stuff up for a living. But you know, we're just, again, small crew, and you got to do what you got to do. And you know, like I said, to me, I don't know, it's kind of the difference between like Disney animation, like hand drawn, versus like CGI on the computer. Like, yeah, the CGI is more automated, it looks cooler, but there's nothing that replaces that hand drawn smoothness. It's just, there's a different feel for these things, and I kind of get that being the same way with Cola, is that I feel like it's the move is much more crafted when he's up there doing it, you know.
Yeah, and that's the difference between an animator who knows and loves wrestling to get everything right, and the impact and the setup, you know, and the power of the move, versus like we've had offers from overseas animation studios. They've contacted us and said, hey, well, we'll do animations for you for, you know, $50 a move, you know, from India or something, where, you know, the currency is cheap, but I would rather have one great looking move from Alex than 50 shitty ones for the same price, you know, like. It's not worth it. It's not worth it for the quantity over quality, you know.
Sax Dude, to answer your question, yes, we are looking at doing some other nights. Sometimes it's just like, it's kind of hard with everybody's schedule. I mean, we have, quite literally, with the 4 people that we have 4 different time zones represented, all in North America. Cola's out in Vancouver. Dave's out in Saskatchewan, right? Saskatchewan?
No, actually,
you're out in Calgary. Near Calgary.
Yeah, Alberta.
And then Robert's out near Milwaukee, and I'm in Kalamazoo, and I'm in the Eastern time. So we have to, like, if we're going to get everybody in, we have to. That's why we end up doing things at 10 o'clock at night, is because Cola's just getting home from work right now. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of hard. But we've been talking about doing some Saturday afternoon broadcasts or all that kind of stuff, and just. You know, see where we can find some other nights, because we know not everybody can stay up this late. And I can't.
Yeah, I'd love to do something in the afternoon on the weekend, because we get a lot of requests from guys on the other side of the planet who are sleeping Tuesday when we're doing this. They'd like to, you know, participate, but they're on the opposite end of the time zones, right? So I'd love to do one.
So we've been kind of shooting for this Tuesday night, you know, Tuesday Twitch, and it's been working out okay. For me, it's a night that I don't have anything else going on, and you know, like I said, it's been working out okay. But yeah, we definitely are looking, you know, to try to mix it up a little bit more, especially as the game starts getting more and more fleshed out. And you know, we've been talking about doing some, you know, when we hit 1.0, kind of doing a, you know, a big, you know, 3 or 4 hour broadcast on some afternoon or something like that. So we're gonna, you know, we're gonna give it a whirl and just keep trying some stuff. So, anything else you want to add there, big man? I'm ready to hit the hay. So.
No, I'm just thank you to Eric for showing up, and it's in his time zone is the latest one, so thank you. Thank you for everybody in the chat room, man. I have a blast being able to answer questions. It's so fast and easy to talk to you guys directly. You know, as much as I love forums, I'm a crappy typer, so I love doing this and just talking to you guys. It's great. I wish we could get everyone on voice chat. I'd have a blast. That would be maybe something we could look at in the future, doing a Google Hangout or something where we can maybe even do something like that. Take some actual voice calls or something, you know. Yep. But thank you, everybody, man. This is, like, knock on wood, this is going to be the best year ever for Pro Wrestling X. We couldn't possibly be in a better position to go forward. We've got the best, most talented, hardest working crew ever. We are producing updates to our game better and faster than ever. Everything's just positive. Steam reviews now are mostly positive, which is fantastic. It makes a difference. Yeah, thank you everyone, man. We're gonna make
sign
you
up for
happy.
ProWrestlingX.com. Check us out on Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter. What do you do on this channel? Do you like a Twitch broadcast channel? I can't remember what you click the little heart thing or whatever it is, and that way you get notified when we go live and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, keep checking in with us, guys. I mean, we're pretty good about updating what's. I mean, we have an email list that we send something out every Friday, and
Facebook gets updated every Friday. Yep, that's all good.
Yep. So cool, y'all. All right, time to go to bed. I'm tired. So.
It's all good in the hood, Eric.
Oh, God. I told you to retire that phrase.
I had to slip in. All right, you guys, thanks a lot. Hopefully, all things considered, we'll see you next week. And have a great week, you guys.
Yep,
Stay out of trouble.
cheers.
Cheers.